Well, hello everyone. We're going to be looking at Ethereum here this afternoon. It is November the 14th, 2019. Before we get started, this isn't financial advice. I am not your financial advisor. This market is risky, volatile. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your research, and I'm just here to give my humble opinion on the market. So with that out of the way, let's take a look here at what we have. Um, so we're gonna start back in December of 2018 when we hit the bottom here, right around $80, right? Fears on the streets, doom and gloom, and then, well, I mean, look where we are now, right? So obviously we're more than double, where we were down here. Um, but there's still people afraid to buy, and you know, we've had discussions about this, many times about Bitcoin. Um, but it's very clear to see that we have a good impulse here, a good impulsive move from $80 up to $360. We had a blow off top. Naturally, we were due to correct. We came over 70% of the way. I don't believe we came so far to get the 786, but let's just take a look just to be sure. 786 is a little further down, so we overextended beyond the 705. Um, and now we are, in a little bit of consolidation. I would be willing to say this is accumulation here in this zone. I would not say that this is distribution down here. Distribution happened up here. There's no doubt about that. I would actually be inclined to believe that we are in accumulation at this point. And zooming in here, I'm on the daily chart. We're looking at this block where we have resistance here, where it was previously support, and then it became resistance. We pushed through, and then we got rejected again. I would expect this resistance to continue to hold. And actually, it held back here on October 26th as well, Ethereum versus the US dollar, when Bitcoin went on its, quote, craziest run ever. Ethereum didn't really do all that great, in the grand scheme of things. We did see, a move up the day before. So if you remember, this happened, right at the turn of the two daily closures. So the candle before here was 13%, and then the next candle, we ended up losing 1%. So we're still consolidating here. We're consolidating, or we're trying to consolidate above the 21 exponential on the daily, and we're not getting a whole lot of conviction on this. We're being held up by the 21 exponential on the daily, which we're actually trying to break through now, but it wouldn't surprise me if this kind of popped back up in. But we're being suppressed by the 100 exponential on the daily. We can see that the 21 exponential is curling up. So we have a kind of a bullish slope on this, even though it's not an impressive bullish slope. It's still just slowly ramping its way up. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where we're going to have another expansionary phase, and we're going to start, rapidly moving in one direction or the other. I would say if this daily candle closes below the 21 exponential, which we haven't seen, the last time we had a daily closure below the 21 exponential, if we go back here and look, this is the last time we closed below the 21 exponential, and then we pretty much just rolled over and went to the bottom of this zone. Okay, so that happened. And so now, not saying that's going to happen again, but if we do close below the 21 exponential, which right now is at 184.35, and just for the record, we're at 183.70 at the time of this video. It is possible that we come back down here to 150 again. And if we do that, what I really want to see, I really want to see us have a good spring down here, because if this is accumulation and not just a bearish consolidation, if this is accumulation, then what we should see is that last push down. So basically a failed swing down here, and then we get this move up. Then we start to reclaim support and resistance levels. Now, as far as support and resistance go, let's talk about that for just a moment. Let me remove my red sell area and my green buy area, which we were bouncing in for a long, long time. we need to break above this level here, which is $200. We have to break above $200. If we don't break above 200, then that's that's not looking good for being bullish. After we do break 200, we have to break this 200 simple moving average on the daily, which is at about $215 right now. It's at 214.70 and rising. It's still rising because of all of this move back here. It's lagging because the length of that moving average is so long. So now if I go to a 4-hour, let's take a look and see what kind of support and or resistance we have right here. So we're bouncing here off the 200 simple on the 4-hour. We had a test here. We had another test here on November 1st. We had another good one here on November 3rd. And then, back here on the 8th. And then finally on the 12th. And right now we are below all of the other moving averages. And it looks like the 21 and the 55 want to cross down for the first time in a long time. So I'll just kind of zoom in here. You can see the 21 and the 55, the yellow and the green moving averages, they are trying to cross bearish right now. So what we need to see here pretty soon is either a move down and then up, or we just need to see it just start to move up from here. If we don't see that, these are going to cross bearish, and then the more that these cross bearish, the more resistance that we're going to see trying to get a move up. As of right now, it looks like Ethereum versus US dollar wants to go down. But of course, Bitcoin's going to control most of that. What I want to do also, I want to take a look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin and take a real good look at this, because this is actually not looking too bad. So if I look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin on the daily, so Ethereum versus Bitcoin on the daily, what I can see here is very similar, right? I see there is accumulation going on here. This point right here is very important. And then of course we have our lower right here and then our lowest right there. So we've got 162, 172, and then up here we've got this at basically 192. And then our upper resistance level that we're trying to push through is about 223. What we really need, and this is sort of antagonist compared to Ethereum versus the US dollar, because on Ethereum versus the US dollar, we were starting to see some bearish crosses, but on Ethereum versus Bitcoin, we're starting to see more move to the upside. So this is interesting. The Stokes, however, on the daily do insinuate that we are going to have some downward reaction. So I would be very interested in buying dips on Ethereum. And then once we get down to about this level here at 202, 0.0202, once we get down here to this level, which is the 20 simple moving average on the daily, that's actually a 0.0203, that would be a good place to buy in my opinion. And then having your stop loss down here at about 1918, 0.01918. So I'm just using this as a thought and idea right here where we did have a resistance and a support flip. Doing a stop loss right around here, but as far as your targets go, my first target would be that 200 simple moving average. So you're targeting about 15%, and your stop loss here is pretty big. It's a pretty wide stop at 6%. So you're only looking at about 2.6 to 1. But of course, you do have some horizontals. If you're looking for higher targets, this level up here, which is at about 0.025, that would be an interesting area as well. Excuse me. So we're looking at about 22.6% gain there. You're looking almost 4 to 1 on this. If you can catch that, on a retrace, this does look like it wants to continue to move up. I'm not going to call this an inverted head and shoulders, but as far as the neckline goes right here, this looks pretty good. If we can get a test up here of 223, I do believe we're going to continue and we're going to break out of this. Even if it consolidates up here for a little bit of time, I think it will eventually push up and out. And as far as a target, if you do like head and shoulders, what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom of the head to the neckline right here, and we're going to basically be looking at a 100% expansion. So let's do our measured move. See where our target lands. Our target up here is actually at 0.0285. And as far as confluence goes there, I guess that was the top here, and it has some confluence with this horizontal. But that would be the technical top for a Head and Shoulders breakout. Potentially it could go just a little bit further than that, but just being conservative, this is like 0.028. Somewhere in that range, that would be where I'd be looking to go. And so if you do happen to catch it, now you're looking at about a 37% gain, which is 6-to-1 odds, something that I would favor greatly. You're risking a little bit for a huge gain. And, with Ethereum performing the way that it has been, it really wouldn't surprise me for it to get back into this zone. And then I would love for it to start consolidating here. I would love to see more of these moving averages cross, especially seeing the 55 exponential crossing above the 100 exponential. That would be really great. But yeah, at least for right now, the last time we had a bearish cross on the daily, we had an initial one back here, and then we moved down to support. We had another one right here, same thing, just a little bit higher. We came down to support, and so now we are up here yet again. Potentially we do have a little bit of a push up. Don't try and FOMO into any positions, because we do look like we're going to come down really likely at least to this level here at 0.02. But I'd be willing to buy anywhere in this red zone. I wouldn't go all in here at my entry. I would layer in so that if I do get stopped out, it doesn't hurt as much. So I would layer in bids in this red stop area and then cut my losses just on the other side of that. So again, talking about cutting my losses here at approximately 0.019, but then of course getting in anywhere between 0.019 and 0.02. And then targeting, I guess it would be reasonable to, pay yourself along the way, but look for 0.028. So you would still be looking at that 37.6 or more if you get a lower entry percent gain on that. But yeah, a retest of the 55, a retest of the 20 simple moving average, or a retest of that 21 exponential likely going to happen. And, as long as we don't start closing dailies below it, then I do think we're going to get that move up. And I guess I should correct myself. We can get dailies closing below here, but we need to not be down there for very long. And especially we shouldn't be getting dailies below 0.019. If we do that, then it definitely would probably stop out of that. But at any rate, it looks like that's what Ethereum is looking to do. The 3-hour Stokes are also saying we're going to be coming down and testing things. The 2-hour also going down. 1 hour is probably down at the bottom, starting to curl back up. We're going to get a little bit of a bounce there, looking to get that rejection here off of maybe 0.0213. But yeah, the 12-hour is overbought. The daily is overbought. The 3-day, however, just a fresh bullish cross. So 3 days, of course, they do take a lot of time to work themselves out. We don't have any bullish divergence or even hidden bullish divergence that I can see here on the 3-day. But again, it would not surprise me for us to come down into the buy zone and then to start to move up, because the 21 exponential on the 3-day is sitting right down here at 0.0207. So having a little bit of an extension down and then getting that bullish spring, which we need to be looking for to continue to the upside, very, very likely. And one more thing, then we'll close it out. If we're looking at this as either an A, B, or a 1, 2, if this is an A, B, C, your target's going to be sitting right here, just like where we were talking. So again, that's 0.0273. 0.0274. But if this is not an A, B, C, and this is a 1, 2, 3, then your target really has to go all the way up to 0.03. So if we get up to 0.03, I would be all over buying the dip on this, because again, if we go to 0.03, let's just map this out just for a moment. If we do happen to get all the way up there to that 1618, and I'll go to my Elliott wave, we'd be looking to come back to probably 0.026, maybe 0.025, somewhere in this zone. So, plotting this out, if this is a 5 wave, we're now looking at 1, 2, 3 up here, coming down for the 4, which usually comes back to the 382, and then we'd be looking for the 5 here. And that would be our first wave in a bullish impulse. So then from there, we would also be looking at, targeting up here, all the way starting from down here. Then from up there, we would be looking at a much bigger correction, probably down to the 50 if I had to guess. So this is going to come probably all the way back to 0.024 or 0.025, somewhere in this range. We can recapture this resistance as support, and then we can continue on wave 3. So that would insinuate that this is wave 1, wave 2, and we have much, much higher to go. We'd be looking, gosh, all the way up here at 0.04, 0.05. I don't want to be too much of a dreamer right now, nor am I going to project that that's what's going to happen. But that's what could happen, especially if all of this confluence comes into play. If we come down to test this, even though the 3-day has crossed bullish, 3 days takes a long time to work itself out. And I do think that we can come down. One good example is, the 3-day Stokes were pretty erect here. And then we had a pretty red day, but the 3-day Stokes were continuing to move to the upside. They didn't cross bearish until right here. So even though we had this big red candle here, the Stokes were still insinuating that we were continuing to move up. And we did. And then we crossed right here, and we've been basically correcting ever since. And it just now looks like we are starting to start another bullish move up to a wave 3. But again, I would be looking to buy dips on Ethereum. All right, well, that's what I have on Ethereum right now. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to hop in the Discord and I can answer any questions that you might have. If you don't have an invite to the Discord, feel free to throw in a comment and I can get you an invite code. It doesn't cost anything. We're just trying to keep down on the spam accounts. Otherwise, like, subscribe, share, spread the news and all of that, and I will talk to you all later.